Hello, gamers, and welcome to Xbot and Pony. My name is Phil,
My name is Nick.
and for today's discussion, we've been thinking about the prices for games for next gen. So, NBA 2K has been officially revealed to be $70. So, that's a $10 increase on current gen. Is this justified? Is it a good thing that the prices are going up, or is this going to put a lot of gamers off? So, let's discuss. Nick, what's
Yeah,
your initial thought on that price increase?
that's interesting. I mean, we're in Australia, so pricing here is very different, I think, from what I can gather in America. So our recommended retail price is 99.95 Australian,
Mm,
but most retailers, besides EB Games slash GameStop, will release most games at 79 or 69 Australian
mm,
dollars, which is $9 more than places in America. I know there'll be other places in America that don't do the 59.99, of course.
mm,
Um, I guess that jumps our games up, the ones that they put up, $10 American to 114.95 or 119.95 recommended retail.
mm.
Um, there's a lot of things to weigh up here. I've said this before. I've got N64 boxes over there with $120 written on them.
Mm.
So this isn't out of left field for us in Australia. Games have been pricey, and prices tend to go up and down, whereas I think in America that's been this steady increase, 40,
Mm.
50, 60, and now 70. um, I understand it, but I don't agree with it. That's
Yeah.
probably the best way to describe it. Very mixed feelings.
Mm.
What about you? How do you?
Yeah, so I think you're right. There's a variety of different angles to look at this, and I think my gut instinct is, yeah, I get it. I totally get it. A $60 game 10 years ago would have a much lower budget and would take far
100%.
fewer manpower, hours, and all sorts of bits and pieces. Whereas in now, games are just physically more expensive to make. You've got to pay a lot of people. There's marketing, blah blah blah. I get all of that. So increasing the price to cover those costs, I can see how that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally do. Um, but where my concern comes in, I guess, is does this mean that we're going to get a reduction in other stuff? Because obviously these
Yes.
companies were saying, oh, well, we can charge $60, but we've got to make money elsewhere, be that microtransactions or DLC or special editions, etc., etc. If we get an increase to $70, does that mean we're going to get a reduction in all of that stuff? And my gut instinct is we won't,
No.
right? Because it makes too much money. Right?
Yes.
Microtransactions, loot boxes, all that stuff. It's often makes more money than the actual sale of the game. So why would they stop that stuff? So that's where my concern is yeah, I understand why you're increasing the price of the game because it costs a lot to make those games now, way more than it did 10 years ago, way more than 20 years ago. But you're still going to keep all that stuff in it, which is going to make an insane amount of money, which you would think you
Yeah.
should cut back if you're increasing the prices.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think if we're paying an extra $10, it makes sense because games are huge. Games like Red Dead Redemption and all that. And the perfect example is the new Star Wars game from, or the Rogue Squadron
Mm,
semi-sequel. It's a $40 game.
mm,
Um, I guess they're saying it's $40 because it's short. It's got a short single-player campaign, and the main thing's multiplayer.
mm,
Um, but why don't we see more of that? So why aren't more games that are shorter? I mean, it's an argument, and it's hard to say what games should be 40, what should be 50, what should be 60. And we'll talk in American dollars here just to make more sense. Um, I think a game like Resident Evil 3 probably should have been cheaper than what it was.
mm.
It was short. You could breeze through it in under 5 hours. And
No.
I mean, some people finished it first go in under 3 hours.
Mm,
Yes, there's replayability, you go through different difficulties, etc., etc. But it's a pretty short game. And I know they threw in the free multiplayer game to make up for that. And I think the reason they did that was because they knew how short it was. Here
mm,
we were thinking we're getting a bargain here, but they knew how short Resident Evil 3 was, so they threw in the multiplayer to justify charging full whack for that game. Again, not a bad game, enjoyed it. I'll
mm,
probably play it again, but compared to Resident Evil 2, it just didn't have that same scale. You know, you're already using the engine for Resident Evil 2. The engine's built. You've used a whole bunch of other companies from different countries. You're not using your main Capcom developers to make this game. This was a side game here, and you're charging a lot for it.
Okay.
Games Red
Well,
Dead
that raises a good
Redemption
point.
Grand
So
Theft Auto,
we
huge.
know Resident Evil: The Village is coming out, right? Next
Yes.
gen,
Yep.
right? So let's assume that that's the same size as what you're talking about with Resident Evil 2. In your opinion, is that worth $70? Is that game worth that price of entry?
No. No.
Why not?
I'm going to compare it to Resident Evil 7, and I want it to stay at the same price Resident Evil 7 was, because I can't see it being bigger than Resident Evil 7. And with Capcom coming out saying don't call it Resident Evil 8, it's again a spin-off. So do we have this argument where mainline games that are a specific amount of hours can have a $10 price hike? Again, it's bad timing. A lot of people have lost their jobs. We've got this COVID situation.
Exactly right. Yeah. So that's been some of the backlash, hasn't it, online with this? Is they're saying, well, people are
Yes.
already struggling to save money at the moment for obvious reasons. You know, a lot of people have lost their jobs or their hours have gone down,
Exactly.
and they're already trying to save for a console that's likely to be, let's be honest, around $500. You know, $400-500. And then you want to start charging games at $70. A lot of people have kind of gone, well, in that case, I'm out, you know,
Yeah.
or wait a year or two and see if the prices go down, because $70 is a lot to ask of someone.
I've seen a lot of people say then Game Pass is more attractive to me next gen if this is the case. I think that's jumping a bit too soon, because Microsoft is offering free upgrades. It looks like Sony's doing the same thing now, which is great. But Game Pass and subscription services are going to be huge. One thing we need to take into account and I don't want to sound negative here, but Animal Crossing and The Last of Us 2 probably wouldn't have sold as much as they did if COVID didn't happen. Like, they broke record sales, and we know why. They broke digital record sales, and we know why. People are stuck in home with nothing to do. Some countries are still not allowed to go out. Here in Australia, Victoria is now blocked off again because people can't stay home. So this thing hasn't gone away, and it's not going away anytime soon. So people are struggling for money. People are still getting locked back in their houses. People have got money to spend, and let's be honest, gaming is a luxury. This is a luxury thing. This is entertainment. It's not something you have to do.
Are you sure? Because I heard it was an essential service.
Apparently it was here in our country. Wasn't
that GameStop that said it was an essential service?
They did, and then they shut down their stores 3 weeks later.
EB Games stayed open in Australia, right?
In Australia, it's completely different. It was essential.
Yeah.
I remember everyone saying, can I go buy this game or I get in trouble? Say you're going for a jog. Like, it's really weird when it comes to that. But I've just Googled quickly to see how much Take-Two has made roughly in revenue this year, and they're at 400 million US. They make billion. They'll make over $1 billion by the time this year's out. And you got to remember, Take-Two don't release. They release a lot of little games, but they're big games like Grand Theft Auto and all that, and their sports games. They come out every few years. They're not 7 years, 5 years. Like, they're not making games every year like these other companies like Activision and all them with their microtransactions. And we've seen results from Activision. They made, was it $3 billion in microtransactions? But now there's a potential they want to charge us all $10 to $20 extra. Games, I get it. I understand. Games are bigger and everything like that, but it just reeks of greed.
It does a little bit.
Industry that isn't suffering at the moment. This industry isn't suffering. Are people not buying games because of COVID? No, it looks like people are buying more games because of COVID. And again, digitally as well. Digital seems to be up. We might even talk about that with Capcom and what they announced.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
In another video. But profit seems to be good for the gaming industry at the moment. So to me, it makes sense for games to go up because of how big they become, but it also looks very greedy with how they're making money on microtransactions and everything else, and the fact that people have lost their jobs, but we're still buying games. So
what about you personally, Nick? Would this put you off? If you saw that a game was like 115 Aussie dollars, would you no longer buy games on release? Would you wait for them a few months down the line?
I tend to do that now. I have Game Pass as well, so it really does help me. Game Pass helps me big time. I don't have to buy any first-party Microsoft games. I know we have none, but even I laugh at that because it's true. But, I've
No
got some
comment.
good games like Ori and all that, and then other games like that I didn't buy, Rage 2, stuff like that. That they were full-price games, and all of a sudden they're in Game Pass. I don't need to worry about buying all my games straight away at the moment. So I see Game Pass as a good way of combating that. But these games that we're looking at going to $70, so for example, they might be games that never go to Game Pass anyway. They're not, I can't remember many 2K games going into Game Pass. So they're the first company to do this. So Game Pass isn't going to help. So if I was to walk into a shop and see Resident Evil 8 at $120, I'd buy it because it's Resident Evil 8 and I'm a Resident Evil fan. If I was to go in and see any other game like Cyberpunk that I'm really excited for, be $120, but I'm not a fan of that franchise or it's a new IP, I'm not buying it. Personally, I think it's too much.
Yeah, it's interesting because it could theoretically lead to a decrease in sales overall.
An initial sale.
But there was a price hike between last gen and this gen, right? And it didn't slow things down. If anything, the industry has grown. The PS4 sold more than the PS3 did. So and obviously I know it's a bad example, but the Switch sold more than the Wii U. I think
and the Switch
so. It's
pricey.
You get the Switch tax, yeah, for sure. So a price increase doesn't necessarily guarantee a decrease in sales, but is $60 to $70 just a little bit too far? Is it a little bit too high for people to shut out on a game that they're not 100% sure they're going to enjoy?
Well, what it does guarantee is more profit. That's the only thing it guarantees, and that's the bottom line, really, isn't it? It guarantees more profit. Even if less people buy, they're still probably going to make more profit because at launch, people are going to want that game. They're going to get it. They're going to pay for it. It's just to me, overall, I'm leaning more towards the greed side. It probably doesn't need to be done now, especially with 2K's lame excuse of this is a new engine. We can't offer smart delivery, so it's not happening on Xbox or PS5. But if you buy the Mamba version for $150 Australian, we'll give you the free upgrade. So, what? Yeah, it's contradictory. It's just a bit greedy. They're saying it's a different engine, so I'm going to want to see what different gameplay the PS5 and Xbox Series X version offers over the PS4 and the Xbox One version. And then throw in the PC. What version do we get? Do they only get the next gen? What if you've got a PC that doesn't have an SSD, it has a mechanical drive? Do you only get the Xbox? It's a cop-out. Really, it is. It is. It's just a way for them to make a bit more coin.
The only thing that it guarantees for me, man, is I'm going to price match those games.
That's the as we already do.
Exactly. I've got to admit, and I know they don't really care, but there's a guilty pleasure that I get out of walking up to the counter in EB Games with a game that says $99.99 on it and go, hey, this store is doing it for $69.99. Can you price match that? And they'll go, yes. And then there's a $30 just cut straight away. And yeah, I'm sure the minimum wage guy behind the counter doesn't actually care, but there's a bit of guilty pleasure from my point of view. It's like, yep, you were greedy. You charged $30 more than was expected. Exactly. So maybe I'll have to carry that on next gen as well.
Well, some EB stores are, no problem. And then others are, we want proof. Show us on your phone. And you have to literally show them. It's like, oh, God.
I've had stores who go, hang on, I've got to check that it's even in stock at that store, otherwise I won't do it.
Really, it's like, mate, it's day one, of course it's in stock. But it's part of the amazing industry we love. And I do suspect more publishers will put on the next gen tax. But it's going to be difficult too, because you've got a lot of people that are just offering free upgrades like Ubisoft. And that as well. So we'll have to wait and see what prices, Far Cry and all that come out on the new systems and see if Ubisoft's going to jump the price up as well. So, if that's the case, all these free upgrade versions sound a lot better, don't they? Buy the
They do.
Xbox One version, buy the PS4 version, get the free upgrade. Don't worry about the new tax.
And it'll be $10 cheaper. Yep, for
Yeah.
sure. All right. Well, what do you guys think? This new $70, has it put you off next gen a little bit? Are you okay with it? Do you feel like it's justified and that's all right? Or do you feel that maybe it's just companies being greedy? Let us know below in the comments.
Like and subscribe, guys, and thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.